Om Shanti. Would like to address a very important topic of traffic control because from the very beginning of our spiritual journey, we take traffic control as a way to take a pause and in that pause, remind ourselves of our being that we are, right? That being of awareness that we are. And sometimes we take this pause in between two events, or sometimes before coming into interaction, or at every hour, every 15 minutes. So it's like a designated time. We take these pauses, but the general sentiment behind the pause is that when I take a pause, I remind myself of who I am and I remember who I am. But as soon as I go back into activity, I tend to lose touch with my truth and I get too entangled with my activities, with my thinking, with my perceptions, and even just in general, my interactions. I get entangled in that, right? But if it's really practiced accurately, in the beginning, it may feel that it is like either you are in the foreground of experience or you are in the background of experience, right? But in time, all these brief pauses, if really practiced accurately throughout the day, you will feel that they are not numerous pauses, but they are numerous windows on the same background of peace, right? And that background of peace is felt deeply and fully in these pauses between the activities, and it remains present in the background. But more and more, we begin to feel that this piece of background of peace is ever present, presence of awareness that I am. It never disappears. The truth of who I am is not at a distance from me. That is who I am, ever present in the background of all experiences. The experiences could be of thoughts, could be of feelings, could be of sensations, could be of perceptions, could be of activities, could be of relationships. But then we start to feel what is giving a sense of continuity to all these experiences. Because thoughts by themselves, a thought is not continuous, a feeling is not continuous, a perception is not continuous. But there is some undeniable continuity to all these experiences. And as we really practice traffic control, that is, we take these pauses and remind and just step back into that ever present ocean of peace that is just behind these experiences. It's in the background in the beginning. And the mind dips more and more into that ever present peace. And then it gets completely, it's like literally inundated and soaked in that peace. And then, as that peace, it takes the shape of words and it takes the shape of sound, it takes the shape of actions, and it takes the shape of interactions and relationships. And then it keeps dipping again and again back into the background, ever present background of awareness, right? Which is what is giving the sense of continuity to these discontinuous experiences of thoughts, feelings, sensations, activities, perceptions, relationships, just like the screen. The images don't have continuity by themselves. It's the screen that gives the sense of continuity to the images, right? And it's exactly the same. The screen is that ever-present, pure, silent, conscient being, right? Which is the same nature. There is no difference in the nature of the being that is ever present than the nature of the essence of the other minds also. It's exactly the same, not even similar, exactly the same. So the more the mind drowns and the more the mind just dives deep into the silence, okay, take a pause. The mind literally just steps back from the foreground of the activity of thoughts and sensations and movement and sound, and it steps and dives deep back into the ocean of silence and sees, okay, that which knows thoughts and is aware of thoughts, Baba says, which is always combined with the being and the mind, right? Baba is not at a distance, ever present background. That's where Baba is, ever present background for the mind, right? So the mind is literally like attention, like a turtle neck of the turtle, literally moves out of the shell and then goes back into the shell, but it never leaves the shell. Exactly the same way. It's like the mind literally dives deep into the love and the peace of the Father. And then it just, without leaving the heart of the Father, it comes into thoughts, words, actions, relationships, but never leaving the heart of the Father, which means never leaving the heart of the ever-present peace, ever-present joy, ever-present love, right? That's where the sense of continuity of peace is coming from. That's where the sense of continuity of love is coming from, which means it's the same for all. All that love means is that there's no sense of separation between there may be different set of thoughts and feelings and perceptions for each mind, but behind each mind, essence is the same. That is that ever-present, peaceful background of all experiences. So it's as though Baba is animating with his light all the minds. And so that's why all one needs to do, take a pause. In that pause, it could be a 2-minute pause, it could be actually just 5-second pause between two phone calls, or it could be 10 seconds pause while somebody's talking and you're on the listening side. Just dive back into the silent background of peace. And from there, listen. From there, when it's your chance to speak, then the words will come filled and infused with that peace. So really, it is that simple to recognize that the kingdom of heaven is within, right? It's not somewhere I have to go. All I have to know is, okay, in the pause, who am I prior to thought, prior to feeling, prior to perception, whatever the last experience may have been, and prior to time and space, just behind. Baba is ever-present background, just behind. Mind dives deep, completely, as though steps out of time into eternity. And in eternity, there's no thought, there's no time, there's no space. It's just pure presence. Mind has become one with God, totally surrendered. And then when it comes out, it's completely soaked and infused with that peace. So you could have had a very awful experience, right? In the foreground, maybe of a certain thought or a certain image or maybe certain activity or a certain relationship. It could have been a blissful or an awful experience. It doesn't matter. If it is temporary and it appears and disappears, it is not the silent, ever-present background that is never changing. So that changeless peace is the only true peace which comes from the silence of the Father, right? The one that is changing, the constantly changing peace and changing bliss and changing experiences of thoughts, feelings, that is not who I am. That is just the activity of mind, right? And so when the mind dives and dips more and more into this truth, then we come into the foreground, but without losing touch with the background of peace. In fact, the foreground and the background and the middle ground all become one, right? And it's as though with Baba, it's like if you see these windows are the numerous windows on the background of the silent, peaceful presence of pure awareness, right? Earlier, they were just the windows in which I felt I'm there, and then I'm not there. When that window was closed of a pause, then I was not there, right? But now we realize, oh, I'm the ever-present peaceful background of silence and peace. Combined, Baba and I are combined. There's no me and Baba in that. There's only Baba there. So just combined. And then the mind is the activity. So mind just dives deep into pure consciousness and then knows that it's ever present in the background, and it becomes a constant companion, always present, always there. And that's the place where it lives now. And that's the place from where it works now. So even now when the speaking is happening, it's happening from that place of ever-present background of Baba's heart. And then there is not, I don't have to negotiate experiences. Oh, if I'm into action, then then I forget myself. No, action can happen totally. It's like you're not losing anything. Action is not making you forget yourself. In fact, action has become a means to express the background of truth in the foreground. So you're not going to lose anything apart from sorrow and agitation that attends to the feelings of separation. That's all you're going to lose. You lose the feeling of sense of separation, right? And then when you're connected, the mind is constantly connected with Baba when speaking also, when thinking also, when interacting also, right? So just dip, take a pause, the mind dips, no thoughts. Who am I prior to thought? Baba asks the mind, who are you prior to thoughts, prior to sensations, prior to perceptions, prior to feelings, prior to emotions? That's who you are, merged in God's love. You have no separate identity and sense of separation from me. Dip 5 seconds and then come back. It's not like you've left to come back into action. You are there already. Mind is now from Baba's heart, from the comforter of heart's place. From silence, it's coming into words. From stillness, it's coming into movement, right? This is really traffic control. Very simple. And now the sense of continuity of peace and joy is coming from that silent space. So if the mind is disturbed or fluctuating, that's okay. It's not changed anything in the background, right? So it just steps back, swims, dives deep into the ocean of peace, and then steps back out. Nothing changed, right? This is traffic control. So in summary, we see it once again, that these are not numerous pauses, but numerous windows onto the same background of peace, right? The mind in these moments just sinks into the heart of God, which is the ever-present background of all the ever-changing activities of mind, right? And as it sinks into the heart of God, it loses its name, its form, its sense of separation, and the feelings associated with the sense of separation. And all it experiences is that pure stillness and silence of the comforter of hearts. And then from that silence, it re-emerges and takes the shape of thoughts, takes the shape of words, takes the shape of actions and relationships and movement and sound without ever leaving the comfort of God's heart. And this is truly the real traffic control, which means it is absolute realization of the ever-present background of peace and the comfort of God's heart, which is ever present behind all the activities, behind all the changing activities of mind. The changeless background is Baba himself. Om Shanti.